Who am I? Where do I come from? And where am I going? What's happening in the world today as far as personal development is concerned? I think all of you will agree that when we talk about personal development, there's this understanding, a very clear understanding that to be able to develop personally, we need to have a clear goal. And we have to be able to articulate that goal in a very clear way. Now, if I were to go to a train station and ask the people standing on the platform there, each one of them, where are you going? They will be able to give me an answer within a split second. But if I were to ask them, where are you? What is the purpose of your life? If I were to ask them, who are you really? What is the purpose of your life? I think it'll be a very hard question to answer. And so having a clear-cut goal is one of the most important aspects of being able to grow personally. Now, in yoga psychology concurs with this need for us to have a clear goal and a clearly articulated goal, but with a very crucial proviso, that goal should be so overarching and all-encompassing that every aspect of your life should devolve around that goal. If the goal is, I want to buy a house, or it is, I want to have a nice job, that means that once I buy the house, my goal changes to something else. So that to be able to succeed in our life, yoga says that goal that you have has to be a goal that is overarching, and it encompasses everything that you do in your life. So that is one aspect that we need to have very clear in our minds with as far as yoga is concerned. And the second one is, why do we do what we do? In every act that we do in our life, why do we do what we do? Even though we might have a goal, it is important to understand why we do what we do. And in yoga, explains that the single motivation that drives everything you do is your desire for happiness. Everything that you do in whatever shape or form is connected to this yearning for happiness. And this is so because every being, without exception, emerges from a state of infinite happiness, which is called ananda, which is the intrinsic nature of the consciousness that Dada was talking about earlier on, which is where we all originally emerge from, according to yoga. And I'm sure you all will agree that in this search for happiness, nobody wants happiness that is fleeting. All of us want to be happy, and we want to feel that happiness all the time. So it is the understanding of this that yoga is one of the most powerful personal development tools we have, because of this understanding of the biopsychology of human beings. For this reason, there is an explosion of academic and scientific study into the science of meditation, yoga, and happiness. Yoga as a practice has been in existence for 15,000 years. And through this empirical research over these many thousand years, yoga has developed the most sophisticated understanding of the human body, mind, consciousness, structure. And the consistent practice of meditation forms the core of this science. Now, it is important to be clear that when we talk about meditation, we don't talk about emptying the mind. Rather, meditation is a structured process. It is an active process. And when we practice meditation, we learn to pierce through the daily mental clutter. And we go into the deeper levels of our mind so that we can access this unbounded consciousness. And that unbounded consciousness is the state of our essential nature. And it is the experience of this unbounded consciousness that all of us yearn to have. So now let us have a look at how yoga, in the practice of yoga, we can attain this experience or this state of access, this state of unbounded consciousness, which is, as I mentioned earlier on, our essential nature. It is the deepest part of who we are. So to give you an idea of what we talk about in yoga, about the practice of yoga, I'd like to try an experiment with you all. Could I ask you all, please, to sit up and close your eyes and imagine that you are in your kitchen. And you can get the smell of the kitchen. You hear the sounds of the refrigerator. And then on the table, on the bench top, there is a cutting board. And on top of the cutting board is a lemon and a knife next to it. So you take the knife and cut the lemon in half. And then take half that lemon and cut that half again in half. Now you take this quarter piece of lemon and put it in your mouth. Without any doubt, all of you must be salivating now. Now you can imagine the power of the mind. You don't have the lemon in your hand. You didn't put it in your mouth, but you've had a physiological response to that mental lemon. And this understanding of this, how our body and mind are connected, is what yoga is about. And understanding this concept is very important for us to be able to penetrate into the deeper levels of our mind. That this body-mind connection, where is this connection? Our neurological science still knows very little about how a completely mental lemon causes a physiological reaction. Now, yoga explains that this happens through the connection between body and mind that lies between the interaction between the endocrine glands and the system of chakras in our body. Now, I'm sure all of you would have heard the word chakra. Chakra in Sanskrit is it means wheel. And in this context, in yoga, it refers to the 7 major points of mind-body interaction. It is at these points, according to biopsychology, that that our thoughts have an impact on our body, and how our body has an impact on our mind. And yoga uses this as a starting point on starting our inner journey of traveling deep into the deeper recesses of our being. So just to have a deeper understanding of how meditation works, I will just go into that with you. Now, first, it is important to understand that meditation is an active, structured process. As I mentioned earlier on, it is not emptying the mind. The meditation is something more than just trying to be in the present. Meditation according to yoga, according to the ancient practices of yoga, is a way of penetrating, using the body, using the mind, and penetrating into the deeper levels of our being. And meditation is structured in the following way. It considers, first of all, our breathing. Now, I'm sure all of you would have had the experience of how your breathing has had an impact on the state of your mind, or how the state of your mind has impacted your breathing. When we are calm, our breathing is slow and deep. When we are agitated or nervous, the breathing becomes shallow and rapid. And so our breathing is intimately related with the state of our mind. And, breathing is what we do. The first thing that we do when we are born is breathe in. And the last thing that we do as we are dying, is breathing out. So our whole personality starts with the in-breath and terminates on the out-breath. And so breathing, now yoga understands this important aspect of the impact of breathing, so we can have a direct influence on the state of our mind using our physical body through the way we breathe. And so yoga uses this knowledge to effect a change in our mental state. So that's one of the first parts of the practice of meditation. Then the second essential aspect of meditation are the chakras in our body. Now, the chakras are where the trans-dimensional focus points are, which means that it is at these chakras where the body is connected with the mind, as we talked about earlier on, and it is also through the chakras where the mind connects with the unbounded state of consciousness. So these chakras work as portals, gateways through which we can access the state of unbounded consciousness, of pure consciousness. Then the next part of meditation, the next essential part of meditation is, as I'm sure all of you are familiar with the term mantra. And mantras are in Sanskrit, as the Sanskrit alphabet resonates with the chakras. While chakras are portals or gateways, they are also, it is the mental vibrations that use these gateways to effect the necessary state change that we want. So the word mantra in Sanskrit, man means mind and tra means that which frees. So the vibrations that are caused that's why mantras are very specific, because their vibrations have a very specific impact on the vibration of our physical body and that of the mind. So using our breathing, our chakra and mantra, the fourth aspect of meditation is ideation. As I said earlier on, meditation is not about emptying the mind, and it's not about, in yoga, about mindfulness. Mantras have the deepest spiritual meaning. Yoga and meditation is based on this fact that as you think, so you become. As you would have experienced in the lemon experiment. Whatever we are thinking about, that becomes a reality in our mind. So the meaning of the mantra engages the intellectual faculty, redirecting it towards the deeper self, that pure consciousness. And it is the experience of this pure consciousness that is transformational for us. Now, when one experiences that pure consciousness, that state of our pure nature, the answer, who am I, Where am I going? What is the purpose of my life? All that becomes unknown to us. Because when we experience this state of pure consciousness, as we go deep and deep into the deeper recesses of our mind, we realize that actually we are universal. That there is no limit as to our existence, that we are all, everybody that exists, every being, whether we're speaking about animals, human beings, plants, that we are all interconnected. And with that experience of that infinite happiness that comes from experiencing that pure, unbounded consciousness, our personality changes. We become more compassionate, optimistic, resilient, and that pure unconditional love is what inspires us. So yoga, the personal journey, is there to help us to experience our true selves, to go within. But that then is used to work for the welfare of everything that exists in the universe. That balance between our inner growth and external expression through service for all is what yoga is about.